Now, while they're setting up for the music, don't go anywhere because the music is going to be an hour, hour and a half of the Van Barum legend in the music business.
John, is there food available in the lot?
If you hurry. You threw me off. I'm not a professional speaker, sir. I am also not a serious writer. I'm a comedy writer, but I have written a serious piece, which I consider the most seriouser piece I've ever had in my life. Okay, in fact, it has been compared to Ernest Hemingway. Are you familiar with Ernest Hemingway? Good deal. Some people aren't. Are you familiar with his classic story, love story between the soldier and the nurse, A Farewell to Arms? Well, my story has been compared to that. Does that make me better than Ernest Hemingway? You decide. It was hot and dusty in the town, and we were at war. I was not at the war, but I was at the mall, and I watched the war on one of the TVs in the food court. And just down the hall, a new iPhone was being sold at the Apple store, and the crowd acted as if they were at war, but they were not. I saw her for the first time at the cookie stand. She was eating a cookie. I get emotional. Are you a nurse? I asked, because we were at war. No, she said, chewing her cookie. Are you a soldier? Because the war is on TV, and it's like 50 gazillion miles away, and you are here at the mall and at the cookie stand, but perhaps you are a soldier anyway. No, I told her, I am not a soldier. She looked at me and her face lit up, and she said, I thought you might be. I could tell she was a little warm, but then I checked out her body and I did not care. Would you like to go someplace, I asked? She looked at me and said, you soldiers are all alike. Do you hear something? That's not part of my story. Shut. Mr. Sounds right. Anyway. No, I said. I am not a soldier. There is a smoothie bar over in the other wing. We could go and have smoothies and forget the war for a few hours. Thank you. She looked up at me because she was short, but not too short. Her eyes narrowed. Are you always so hot for women you just met? I said, it is the war. At home, I'm very shy with girls. She looked at me intensely and said, like hell you are. And then she laughed, and when she laughed, I saw the round silver pin stuck in the middle of her tongue. And it was beautiful. And I said, you have a pin stuck in the middle of your tongue, and you're beautiful. She pulled her head back and laughed, and when she laughed, she shook with laughter, and I noticed the tattoo of Beavis and Butthead on her bosom. Do not speak such nonsense, she said. So we went to the bar, and I bought a banana mango smoothie for each of us. And I took her hand and put it in my hand. She looked at me and said, we are going to have a strange life. And I thought to myself, no kidding. We walked to our cars, and outside it was hot and dusty in the parking lot. I pulled her to me and kissed her, and she said she had to get to work. And I asked her where she worked, and she said, the mall, silly. So I left. Over the hot, dry summer, I went to the mall many times to see her. And finally, I asked her to come back to my place, and we would have lots of smoothies and forget the war some more. And she said, of course I will, my darling. So that summer, and then in the autumn, when the leaves turned gold and red and brown and fell to the ground and died, we spent the cool nights at my place. Once after we made love, I told her I had never been with a girl who could make love and text at the same time. And we both laughed and drank some more smoothies. Later she looked down at my leg, although I had 2 of them. And she said, you have a tattoo on your leg. And I said, I know. Did you get it in the war? She asked. I bit my lip and said, for the last freaking time, I did not fight in the war. I thought about it though. Well, she said, getting delightfully huffy, I thought about being a nurse. We held each other and gazed at the moon out the window, which was rising. And I mean, the moon was rising and not the window. And she looked down at my leg again, although I had 2 of them. It is an odd tattoo, she said. Not many people have the Cincinnati Bengals logo on their calves. Usually it's on their... Shush, my brave soldier, she said, putting her hand to my lips. I sighed and told myself, I quit, let her think I'm a soldier. Then in the spring it was hot again because the earth had warmed, and they called it global warming, and the air conditioning at the mall did not work, and we left when her shift was over at the tanning bed place, and she said she wanted me to take her to the hospital. I'm carrying our child, she said, and I'm so very sick. And I said, this is the first I've heard about that. What, she said? What, she said? The part about me being pregnant or the part about me being very sick? And I said, the part about, well, both, I guess. And then I said, women carrying a child get sick, but geez, they do not have to go to the hospital right away. And she said, I mean, darling, I think this is it for me. I mean, it's like over. No, I shouted. And she said, then I will drive myself. And I said, no, I didn't mean no, I won't drive you. I meant, you can't be that very sick. And she looked deep into my eyes and said, well, I am. And I drove her to the hospital. She lay in bed and pushed toward me and kissed me on the lips. And I kissed her back. And I mean, I kissed her lips and not her back. And she said, I want you to have my tongue ring, darling. This is hard for me, I'm sorry. And my earrings, and my nose ring, and my toe rings, and my belly ring, and my nipple ring, and all my rings, darling. Please, don't be mad at me. It is not fair, I said. None of it is fair. Tell me about it, she said. It is not fair to be young and pregnant and in love and so very sick. But darling, I am so very sick. And I said, the doctor said you're not really pregnant, but it's from all the smoothies. Does it really matter now, darling? She said. I guess not, I said. And then I kissed her again because she was still breathing. And then she was gone, and it wasn't fair, but daggone it, I mean, she was gone. I zipped my coat and pulled up my collar and walked out into the rain. Event. Thank you.